Chapter 24. Detention with Snape. I sighed as I clutched the box with my dress inside that George gave me for the ball, standing at the door. I didn't even have to knock as he opened the door, and I saw him sitting at his desk with the wand in his hand. I walked and stood in front of his desk as we stared at each other. I saw his eyes draw to the box on my arm. "You can leave that on my desk for now, until after your detention, if you like, Miranda." I nodded my head, laying the box on top of his desk and folded my arms across my chest, as neither of us didn't speak much. After a minute, he finally spoke. "This isn't our normal social call today, as you were here for detention as your punishment. What would you like me to do, sir? You'll help me organize and sort every potion bottle in this room and help tidy up. You won't be done until I say you are. Is that clear?" I could tell the coolness in his voice as this was his professor's state of mind, so I nodded my head and responded, "Yes, Professor. Where would you like me to start?" He used his wand as I watched a broom fly across the room and I caught it in my hand. "For now, you can start by sweeping the floors, and afterward, you can start sorting potions in the corner of the room," he stated, pointing his finger and directed me. I nodded my head as I started sweeping as I heard him ask, "Forgive me if I'm prying, but what is in this box you brought with you?" Without looking up, I responded, "It's a dress for the Yule Ball." "You're going to the ball? Who with? Potter?" I shook my head to mean no. "No, the dress is from George Weasley. I met up with him just before I came here, and he asked me to the ball, then handed me the dress in the box to wear for the ball." "Well, I'm glad to hear that you're going. I would have been disappointed if I heard you weren't." I couldn't help but softly smile as I continued to sweep the floors, noting how his mood was cruel and cool, but trying to make small conversation with me. Nothing more was said as I finished sweeping and then began to sort his potions in the corner of the room. Suddenly, I heard him ask, "Miranda, if you don't mind me asking." I looked up at him from afar. "Yes, sir?" "I know you're a good, bright, smart student who has never spent a day in detention till today. What did you do to end up spending detention with me?" I looked away sheepishly at the potions. "I got into a fight." "A fight? Who with?" "Cho Chang," I muttered. "Miss Chang?" I looked up at him to respond. "She just taunted me and got me angry to the point where she ended up getting punched because of her actions, which resulted in her fighting back, and I didn't hold my ground." He nodded his head, and I sensed he wanted to ask more but didn't want to pry. I'm glad he wasn't trying to ask what the reason was. Some time went by as the room was silent, and all you could hear was me working with potions and him at his desk. I don't like detention. It wasn't long until he had to stop working at his desk, giving me proper directions on sorting and dealing with the potions before going back to his desk. After a while, I really started to get the flow of things, and it seemed like he was starting to be slightly impressed. I felt him watching me, and from the corner of my eye from afar, I could see him sitting at his desk, slightly amused, with a small smirk. As I was organizing, I moved throughout the room, and for the past few minutes, I was not too far from his desk. "So, are you still with Potter, Miranda?" he asked out of nowhere. I shook my head. "No, we talked and decided it was best to stay as friends for now. We didn't want to ruin our friendship, and he's dealing with enough, but we're keeping the option open if either of us wants to try sometime again." Pity. I knew that wasn't going to last long. My eyes got wide and my eyebrows raised as I looked at him, not expecting him to say something like that. I sighed deeply, feeling a slight anger rise. I hate it when he gets like this. I stopped what I was doing, put everything down, and went over to the front of his desk, surprised by the way he was talking to me. "What's that supposed to mean, Severus?" "Put it this way. Potter is just like his father. You're like your mother. Perfect match, I should say." He got up out of his seat, and I could easily tell that he was not acting like himself. I'm not sure if it's him just acting this way for a reason or not. "Seriously? What is with you?" I asked. Now his voice was rising some and walked closer. "Not all relationships come from friendships, Miranda. This is not a fantasy world where you could wander around like a bloody slut or so gullible like you are, while all your little innocent friends go along behind you like long-lost puppies." This shocked me. I mean, honestly, what the bloody hell? I got close to his face. "What happened all of a sudden? Why do you constantly do this? You're not the kind man you usually are to me. You say you care about me, but it seems like you half don't. Now it seems like you're using me like a memory that made you upset. Maybe it's telling you something then, Miss Parker. He then made an evil smirk at me. Bloody hell, I hate him so much when he gets like this. I hope he's not trying to turn evil slowly or something. I turned around to leave, disgusted with myself, but he stated, "You have detention, Miranda. You can't leave." Ugh! I sighed and turned around, not saying a word as I went back over to where I was sorting potions with tears beginning to fall. I don't deserve this. Just when I thought Severus and I were okay and he would be mine, he cruelly talked that way again. I don't know if something was horribly wrong or not, but I want to feel loved. Why is that so hard to understand? I stood there trying to sort the potions and started to cry silently. Snape's point of view. I watched Miranda as she sighed in annoyance and didn't say another word as she went back to where she was to continue working. I could even tell that she started to cry silently, even if she thought I couldn't hear her. I've been trying to be calm, cool, and collected. I have a reason for my actions and words. I've stated the reason before, as this is because I'm trying to chase Miranda away to get her to hate me instead of feeling like she's falling for me. In my mind, it's better off that she despises me in a way that she can only look at me as the teacher and nothing more than that. However, at the same time, I'm confused about why I keep chasing her away when she constantly tries to get close. Why do I keep getting like this, and why does she still want me? I guess it's a sign after all. I think the Dark Lord will return, and maybe Miranda really does have some type of in-love feeling towards me. My Dark Mark hasn't made a signal yet. Since I was a Death Eater and a spy in the past, I think my cruelty is starting to return the more the days pass by. At the same time, I keep making dumb decisions, but I'm only trying to do what I think is best for both of us. I also try not to be cruel around Miranda, but I can't help it sometimes, and she should know that by now about me. I was different then, but I changed since Albus said I could teach here as a potions teacher. I wanted to be a defense against the dark arts teacher, but he wouldn't let me. Also, no one truly knows that I am the half-blood prince. I hope Miranda doesn't find that out. I stood there by the desk like a deer as I watched Albus walk in to see Miranda crying her eyes out while trying to sort potions. He grabbed her as she started to calm down. Albus and I shared a glance and I couldn't even dare to say a word. Quite frankly, I don't know what the right thing to say is, for that matter. The room was silent, and I could tell Albus wanted to ask what happened and was about to until Miranda looked directly at me. Why are you like this, Severus? Why do you continuously try to confuse me and say such cruel things that hurt me? Why can't you be the loving, caring, self-hearted man that I'm falling for? Why do you constantly change to be cruel and evil whenever I get happy? Did she really just bluntly admit how she came to fall for me? It can't be. I am only a teacher, and it is still illegal to be with her, no matter how much I want her in my life too. I know we did things that I really did not regret at all, but it is too dangerous. It's dangerous for her to be with me. I didn't respond or say anything as I simply stared into her eyes and saw sadness, and she was hurt and heartbroken by my outbursts and cruel words toward her. She stared into my eyes, and her eyes told me that she really is falling in love with me after all. I don't know what to say or do or what the right decision is, but I have to tell her the truth about why I'm acting this way towards her. Nothing is working and she isn't pushing farther away from me, but is still silently crying instead. Her detention is turning into a love confession now more than anything. Albus then asked, "Severus, what is all this about? Please come clean." I opened my mouth, but nothing came out, so I simply nodded my head. Albus held her tightly as I cautiously went up to her, but she shuddered for a second. "I promise I won't hurt you," I muttered. "You can relax. It's okay." I saw her shoulders relax as I sighed with relief, and Albus looked at me to start speaking. I looked into her eyes. "Miranda, you must understand that my outburst was a part of me, which I was years ago. I was cruel, evil, unhearted, and selfish. When I started to teach, some of it was gone, but some of it remains with me. I'm very deeply sorry for hurting you like this constantly, but I was a Death Eater to the Dark Lord. I can't help who I was. If he comes back, we'll worry about it then. I really didn't want to do it, even though I was a spy. I was also acting cruel and saying harsh things to push you away from me and hate me so that you would stop loving me. But it appears that neither of us can stop denying the truth, no matter how much we try to ignore it. I realize that even if this is dangerous and forbidden, I have deep love feelings continuously growing for you, Miranda. And I'll try to protect you from him, and I have to warn you that I can be cruel sometimes, and it might hurt you, which I don't mean to do. Albus glanced and nodded his head, approving what I said, and seemed to be glad that I chose to be completely honest. When he saw that she was all right, he let her go, and she went into my arms and hugged me tightly around my waist. We looked at each other as I stated, I can't promise you a lot, and this will be risky at times. Are you sure you really want me? She nodded and responded, Yes, I really do. I sighed but smiled small. I'll be with you if you want to be happy. She gasped and smiled brightly at me. Remember, it has to be secret, however, Miranda. You may tell your friends, but make sure they don't tell anyone else. Thank you, Severus. You don't know how happy I am. I smiled to myself as I hugged her back, realizing I was happy as well. I'm happy as well, Miranda. She giggled and leaned up to kiss my lips lightly as Albus stepped back smiling. I saw him happily nod from the corner of my eye as he left us to be alone again. I kissed her back softly and we both smiled, staying in an embrace. Miranda's point of view. I stayed in Severus' embrace for another couple minutes before letting go as I smiled softly at him. We spent another hour together in the classroom, finishing up sorting the potions and cleaning up. When we were done, he glanced at me kindly. You should go off to bed now before it gets any later than it already is, Miranda. I think I've kept you here for detention long enough. I made a sad face at him. But I don't want to leave you, Severus. I got on my tiptoes and packed his lips as he kissed me back and let go. I know you don't, Miranda. I don't want to either, but it is getting late. Put it this way, Miranda. I'll give you a deal. Christmas will be here soon, which is the night of the ball. If you want, you can spend Christmas night with me in my personal room after the ball. I smiled and responded, I'll love nothing more than that after the ball, Severus. We kissed each other goodnight, and I left to go to sleep.